Hey everyone, just riding home, or actually I'm going to the community college tonight. But anyway, I was thinking about telling you a little bit more about us living in Mountain Home, Idaho, and I got to thinking about how things have changed in my lifetime, uh, and um, and since I got to thinking about that, I was talking to a couple of other people, one being Mama Janet, and then also my boss at Carabel, and we were talking about how things that we did as children, we would never allow our children to do, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but let me give you an example. So, like I told you before, when we moved to Idaho, we moved into a trailer park called Meadows Trailer Park, and I think if you look it up, it's still there. And we lived at 133 Meadows Trailer Park, and the school that I went to was called West Elementary. And I don't really know how far it was away from the house. Now that I think about it, I'm going to see if I'm sure I can look it up. But I would say it was maybe a mile, and we had to walk across a 4-lane busy road, and then there was like a back street or a back road that we would take to the school. And I think maybe except for the first day of school, and if the weather was bad, other than that, we walked to school and walked home every day. At one point, after maybe the second year or something, that they did have a bus that we could ride, but we didn't have to, and I think we continued to walk most of the time. And it just, I don't know, it just seems funny to me that was just expected, and that's how we would get back and forth to school, and nobody thought twice about it. Keep in mind, I was 8 years old, so just a little bit older than Verona is about to be, and it was just, it's just what we did. And so Uncle Joel and I made some friends with some kids in the neighborhood, and we would walk to school back and forth together, and I don't know, it just seems really funny now. And so to describe this walk to you, so we would walk up to the end of the trailer park, and then in front of there was a 4-lane highway basically that went out to Mountain Home Air Force Base, and it was busy. I think the speed limit there was 45 miles an hour. Depending on the time of day, there were quite a few cars. There was no stoplight there. And but we would cross the road, and then right across the road there was this empty lot that had, it was a place where they stored used farm implements that they would sell, I guess. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know that I ever saw anybody over there buying or selling, but I think that was the purpose of this empty lot. There was a gas station across the road from that, and I can't remember what the name of that, what it was called. Anyway, there was this sort of nasty old man that worked in there, and we used to go over and talk to him sometimes. The used implements across the road, we would climb around in them and play in them. And so anyway, so then we would walk up the road straight, and it would probably was equivalent to 2 city blocks in length, and then we get up to the end of that and we would turn. And even though it was in town, keep in mind this is Idaho and it was 50 years ago, and so even on the edge of town it was still rural. There was a sheep farm there. There was some people who kept horses. Looked kind of like a ranch, with the horse fences and that stuff. We'd walk past that. I remember on the way to school, on the left, there was this house that had been abandoned for I don't know how many years, but all the windows were gone, and it was kind of boarded up and creepy looking. And of course that was a great mystery to us, and I'm sure we made up all kinds of thrilling stories about that or what was going on there. And then we would, we'd walk up that road and finally come to the school. And on the end closest to where we were walking from, there was a big field where they had a baseball field and just, a big empty field, I guess, to play in. And the school itself, West Elementary, was a sort of a 1-story school. It was probably built in the 1960s, maybe early 70s, and it was kind of what you would think of. It was a flat building with a flat roof, and it had in there kindergarten through the 6th grade. And so yeah, that's what I remember about walking back and forth to school. And then one last thing I'll just say about this, and I'll probably come back to this at some point, and that is that, like, we would come home from school and maybe have a snack or something, and I think I used to like to watch Mr. Rogers. I love Mr. Rogers. I still love Mr. Rogers. And then we would go out and play till it was supper time. It seemed like that was forever, but I'm sure it was only an hour or two, if even that much. And again, I'm not sure that Mama Janet ever really knew where we were when we were out of the house. Just trusted that everything would be okay. And I will tell you another time about behind where we lived, there was a huge, huge desert that was all federal land. And what that means is that it really didn't belong to anybody, and yet it belonged to everybody. And so we would go back there and spend hours doing things, playing, riding our mini bikes and that sort of stuff in the desert. But I'll tell you more about that another time. Okay, there's my story for today. Perhaps a little boring, but love you.